What happens when an amateur filmmaker uses a motion picture film stock for photography? Will it magically turn his photos more cinematic and make him a better photographer? Or are we going to be wasting another roll of film? Short answer? Yes. This is my first roll of Cinestill 800T. Cinestill 800T is the film stock to try for low light or night photography. Based off the 500 speed Kodak Vision 3 motion picture film, it was modified and manufactured to be used in regular C41 film processing, resulting in a film stock rated at 800 speed. The T stands for tungsten, as this film is color balanced to 3200 Kelvin, rendering tungsten-lit shots with punchy colors tinged with blues and greens, reminiscent of 90s era films like Wong Kar-wai's Fallen Angels and Chungking Express. The most notable feature of this film stock, however, is that the remjet layer or removable jet black layer has been, well, removed. Normally, this layer of carbon, wax, and adhesive is applied to the film base, helping to reduce scratches, static discharge, and halation. And if you don't know yet, halation is that bloom of light that we have now come to associate with the filmic look, an effect that a lot of us now try to recreate with our digital cameras. So without this layer, photos taken with this film produce a distinct red halation. You either love it or you don't. Why don't you love it? Cinestill film was conceptualized and developed before 2012, but the company was officially started in 2013 by two brothers testing out the film in a basement laboratory. So there I was one weekend trying out the cinematic goodness of this film stock on my Olympus XA3 to see what shots I could get in both daylight and nighttime. Our first stop was Greenfield District, where a bunch of food trucks had migrated to and made permanent residence. I wanted to do a little walk in and around the area and capture anything interesting and really just get my visual eye going.
Got to forward the film.
And apparently my brain as well. This first photo came out okay. Alright, it sucks. The composition is way off, but I think I'm still getting used to using the frame lines on the XA3's viewfinder and just using the 35mm focal length in general, which I'm not really used to. So to kickstart my creative juices, I had a little kombucha moment with this espresso calamansi drink.
Oh shit, is it good?
Think of the bitterness of coffee mixed with the bright acidity of a lemon or lime. It is refreshing, though I'm not quite used to the combination of flavors, but it was definitely perfect for how hot the day was. And while I was finishing up my kombucha-induced coffee, a friend came by to visit, and after asking politely, this little guy posed for a photo. Or maybe he was just pissed. Now originally, the Cinestill film stock was designed from a 500 speed motion picture film, and Cinestill actually recommends to meter the film at 400 to 500 speed and also to use a warming filter to counteract the cool tones of the film when shooting in daylight. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do either of those because in order for me to manually set the ISO on my XA3, I would have had to cover the DX coding of the film stock, which I wasn't able to do. So we'll just have to see what the results are with us not following the instructions of the film. We then headed off to another coffee place in Kapitolyo, and no, I wasn't going to overdose on caffeine. I just wanted to have a light snack and some light reading. This one definitely looked better in my head and may have been better suited to a wider focal length. I think it's really just because I'm so used to composing with a 24mm that I find it harder to compose in tighter spaces with the 35mm focal length. We then headed off around the area, just enjoying the weekend stroll, thinking about food, and me trying to find interesting subjects and compositions to shoot. I love the brutalist design of this building, and I think the branches give it an air of mystery, but also, if I had tried to get this photo without the branches, I probably would have been hit by a vehicle moving at the speed of light. As night began to fall, we went back to the food trucks and took a few photos, and here you can clearly see how prominent the red balls of halation are coming through in this film. Are you starting to love them yet? Fast forward to the next day with a new location, where we hopped into our favorite bookstore. I thought this would be a great place to start because there's a lot of great visuals here, and of course, there's a great coffee spot. And by the way, you should know by now that I need coffee to survive. It's kinda sad, however, to know that this coffee shop is closing, but I'm happy to get one more dirty horchata for the road. I really like this one because it looks like the cat is watching over the customers, though I think it could have been framed a little bit better. After walking around in the bookstore for a little bit more, I decided to try a street photography trick that I'm usually too shy to pull off, shooting from the hip. A technique where you place your camera at hip level and try to guess how your composition will come out. This allows you to capture your subject a little bit more candidly and a little bit more discreetly. And this first try was definitely a fail, as I was completely off my framing, but I gave it another go and it was a little bit more successful. I also had an additional mystery film camera which I brought and used that day. I'll give you a little hint, it's not the Fuji TX1 or X-Pan, although I wish it was because that's definitely one of my dream cameras, but it does come close, sort of. So watch out for that in a future video if you want to find out what this camera is. And after a little bit of walking around BGC, we found ourselves at the foot. And in the foot. Inside was literally a cool, it was air-conditioned, pop-up space where Havaianas, the Brazilian flip-flop brand, was holding some fun activities, photo ops, and the like. One activity that we tried was this tradition of the Brazilian bonfim, or wish ribbons, where you get a colored ribbon of your choice, tied to your wrist with 3 knots, and when the ribbon naturally falls off, your wish will come true.
There you go.
Alright, I wished for 1 million subscribers. Fast forward to later that night when I found said ribbon on the floor, so I checked my channel. Oh well, please subscribe. Thanks. The rest of the night was spent walking around BGC and taking photos, of course, to get the best out of the Cinestill film stock, as it is meant for low light and night photography. This one is one of my favorites. I love framing within frames, and this one came out really well. I also love having the camera pick a slower shutter speed because it captures moving subjects with a different energy that you can't get with a higher shutter speed. And we finally end up at the Shibuya crossing of the city, 5th Avenue. Here I took a few more photos capturing some moving subjects, and before long I was down to 3 shots, which I saved for the following night, just walking around my neighborhood as I had some particular shots in mind. This statue is called Time and was done by a Filipino-American artist based in Chicago. I've always loved the interaction of the light and colors with the reflective surface of this piece, so I wanted to take a photo, and I definitely wasn't disappointed with how the colors turned out. I then capped off my roll of Cinestill by shooting along this walkway. I really love the design of this because it's very sci-fi, very H.R. Giger, almost as if an alien is going to come out of nowhere. And yeah, this is definitely my favorite photo in the roll, but I wish there could be more. So I'll definitely be shooting again with this film stock in the future because I just love how the colors render and the film grain is just buttery smooth. So to end, after looking through all of my photos, I found myself still a beginner. And it made me think about my struggles with being a creative and feeling like I'm not progressing. I think we all go through this with anything we put our mind into or really work hard at. Whether it's photography, filmmaking, cooking, crafting, you name it. We tell ourselves that we aren't good enough, that we feel imposter syndrome, something I struggle with a lot, that we're just a beginner. So what's the point? But I think I've realized that, there's nothing wrong with being a beginner. There's nothing wrong with feeling like a beginner. It just goes to show that there's still so much to learn and we still have a great journey ahead of us. If we already know everything, then that would mean the journey is over, and where's the fun in that? So that's my experience with Cinestill 800T, and that is my 30-second existential crisis monologue. Comment below what your favorite film stocks are and how you deal with imposter syndrome. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.